Hockey Nation fans, welcome to the early edition Hockey Nation live show with Coach Frenchy, directly and the group, and of course, Michael Devellano. But this morning, Monday morning, September 28th, Michael Devellano is not in California, he's in Austin, Texas.
Welcome to Texas.
The capital of Texas, by the way.
Exactly.
I know my history, my geography, and when I fell 3 times in long time ago. Just kidding. It's a great show. We apologize yesterday. We sometimes it's not easy to make a show every day. So, but we are fired up. Game number 6, Dallas, Tampa. Are we going to see the cup tonight, Michael?
I kind of think we are. We had thought before this would be 6 games. I think it's going to be tough. Like the last game was double overtime and pretty close. So it might be close again. It's really up to Tampa to show up and see if they can reach the level they did before. Do we know if Stamkos is going to dress? Like they almost would have been smart just to dress the guy again.
No, he's out.
He's out. Like just dress him.
Now he's out for the rest of the playoff. Officially
Yeah.
announced by last night on the Tampa website. So we're not going to see any more Steven Stamkos, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I said this before. The guy was never ready. They put him in so he could give him a boost and he can get his name on the cup.
Yep, I agree with you. He's
So,
going to be there when they're going to give him the cup, but
yeah. That totally makes sense because that surgery is really tough. Like that is. I was surprised he was able to even skate. To be honest with
the fact he
you.
was
I mean,
there and the fact he scored and a shift at total shift at 2 minutes,
great
I believe.
story.
So
247. Holy smokes. So 5 shifts, 247. So I think tonight, my assumption is that just the law of averages, Tampa's going to pull it out. I think we keep seeing, though, that Dallas is very resilient. They've got veteran guys like, Corey Perry getting 2 goals. What do you have, 5 goals all year, 4? So I think, those guys are hungry, right? They're hungrier than, like, I don't know. I thought I would see a much bigger game last game from Jamie Benn, actually. But I feel like, they put him in his place twice with 2 ridiculous games. So he was just trying to stay in. So it'd be interesting to see. Like the only way that I see Dallas pulls it out is they've got to fire on all cylinders, and they'd have to have an insane game from Jamie Benn or magically Tyler Seguin, but I don't see him.
now
Right.
here's what is a bit good for is a bit more positive for Dallas. We can see a couple of hitting from the veterans and
Yeah.
so they are getting back. I think we did disappear game number 2, 3, and 4. We did not get a lot of from Eskinen, Klember, every time that I think the last game we did not have a lot of giveaway pucks. That's something I pay
That's a lot
attention
better.
for them. The structure defensive side was there. We have Pavelski score, Perry score. Whatever Jimmy Ben did not play well or evenly, I think he played his role. And
He
it was,
played fine. Like he wasn't dominating the way
he
I
had
think.
no points on the score sheet. And
Yeah,
I
he played
think
fine. He
between
was not a factor though.
for the first line with Seguin and Radulov, I think right now it's more
But
Radulov.
Sagan's not playing on the top line,
I think
right?
Radulov right now have a little bit more difficult time compared to the top player from
He
Dallas. But they are getting harder, and they're getting a little bit more points for everybody for the top.
Well, their top line is no longer Sagan, right? Like he's with Perry, and that's effective. That's probably more effective. Radulov is erratic. Like Radulov, if I'm a coach, that guy drives me nuts. Like you can't do anything with him. You just kind of let him do his thing, and he's going to turn the puck over.
But
Like
again,
it's
he have
ridiculous.
17, 15 points, 13 points during the playoff. It's just like he's a bad stretch right now. I think
I don't
he
know.
got produced. With him, I always say Radulov is a duo players. He need to be with someone can produce with him and play together. So
Maybe.
At some point, you cannot have like everybody produce. As you said, I think
Yeah.
Ben is getting there. Seguin, you have two assists last game. Pavlovsky
Yeah.
up. Perry bring the
Yeah.
third line. Now we have another thing we have to remember, and I think that's the factor we don't talk too much about this, and I don't see a lot of news about that. Listen, Dallas don't play with hands, don't play with
Yeah.
Alexa, and they
They're
lost
missing
Como.
three really good players.
So we talk about the three almost top nine on Dallas side.
And no offense to him, but I'm like watching Andrew Cogliano way too much. And you see what he is. He's quick, but he gets to the puck and doesn't do anything to turn it over. Like he's always a very tentative player, it feels like.
But
So I,
again, at the
I
end of the
think
day,
that's a
you know what I
big
mean?
difference. Like versus Hins, who's in there, Como's in there, like Fasca's in there. Like they are impact players, one way or the other.
Yes. So I think that's a big factor for Dallas. Now, if you ask me who's going out, I'll go back again. I was wrong again last game, but I think at some point Tampa is going to plug it, is going
Yeah,
to finish it at some
I
point.
think I agree. If it goes beyond tonight, I'd be very surprised.
Now, if one guy can steal the game tonight, it's Mr. Kudoben. I think he can show up tonight and he can become the one expect, and then he can pick like a big 40 shot, give one or two goals, and then Dallas win 3-2, and then we wake up tomorrow and say, because, why? Mr. Kuduben.
Like I feel like last game there were a lot of close calls for him. Tampa is gonna keep trying to shoot from that right side to the left. He got his toe on. He's a battler. I mean, he has been really solid. But the difference between him letting in goals on some of those shots were very marginal. Like
Yeah.
that could have been a very different game, right? So I don't feel like he's dominating, but he's not letting them. He's keeping them in it. So to your point, is he gonna totally stonewall Tampa? I really don't think so.
I agree with you, but again, if you have one player tonight
Maybe.
he can make a big difference to the what nobody
Yeah,
expect. I think so.
maybe.
You know what I mean? We talk about those players, everything like
I
that. I
agree.
think it could be him. He did it before. He showed up to, you know what I mean? He did very well. A couple of
Yeah.
games where he still really the game during the playoffs. So my point here is just to let you know about um, could happen there, and I think he can get there about that one over there. We don't have any news from injury side. Other effects, Stamkos is out for the remaining playoff. We don't have anything about Como. I look around this morning about 15 minutes ago.
Pins, Pascal all out.
Nothing was going on with Dallas. So we'll see if there are one or two players can come back in the lineup tonight.
Any one of those would be beneficial, right?
Yeah, exactly. We know, Fassa is more about he didn't play any game in playoff on the Stanley Cup Finals. Como get out, I believe, the game number two, and then game number four, um, Ruby Ruby Hens play only 5 minutes 50 seconds.
Yeah, he was just like cruising for a bruising. Like he had so many little injuries that were like freaky, Like
And then before we move on, the last part, because we talk a lot about Dallas on the Tampa, they are everything like we cannot say
they're fire. Yeah, they have no.
point, and then Edmund bring Palat is game. So those big players, so it continues to get more and
They
more
played
there.
very well, man.
Yep.
I
So
think Point. If Point looks strong and healthy, that's a problem. They got to pound that guy, and they can't give him space because he'll kill him tonight. I think he's going to be on a mission.
I believe tonight, if Tampa win, they will have um, Cirelli, Gord, Lord,
Yeah.
Johnson have some points on the score sheet tonight. I really believe they're
Yeah.
going to make it friends for that team win tonight if they win. So that would be my prediction for tonight, and I will go with. I never see Tampa score only one or two goals back to back game or a couple of game. I think they will go for back four to five, and Dallas will be so tonight will be 5-3 Tampa and an empty net goal from Gord. Honestly, it could be like it could be Sinak, but that's another story. But that's my prediction for tonight. Do you have what is so you're going with Tampa
Yeah.
tonight? Final before we move on.
I think it'll be kind of like a 4-2 game, maybe 4-3. I
Okay.
think it's going to be close. I don't think Dallas is going down without a fight. Um, they've shown that they're not totally outclassed here. Fuck, I can't figure this thing out. I think it's going to be close, but I think Tampa will pull it out.
Okay. A couple of news in NHL. Just go around. Of course, you talk about this to me. I think it was Saturday night during the game. The Detroit Red Wings signed players Sam Gagner, only a
Oh,
1 year contract, $850,000 K. Um, honestly, like I just mentioned, it's a 1 year contract with them. Um,
I think we see their game plan. Like,
it was injury. If
they're going to lose one more year.
I think it was injury last season.
Who? Gagne?
Yeah, he play only. He did not play. He did not play a lot of game last
He's
season.
been bouncing between them. No, but he was acquired, right? I can't figure out what my face is. He was acquired, but he played in the AHL. He was in the Toronto organization. He's been bouncing around. He's been like 7 or 8 teams in the last 8, 9 years. So since he left Edmonton, he's been in Philly. He's been in like all over, right? He can skate. He's like Cogliano though. He's not effective. Like he doesn't completely engage, and when he does, he can get hurt. But he might be good for 12, 13 goals. He's shown he can score in bunches if you play him with high scoring players. He's getting up there. He's an 89. I think we see what Detroit's game plan is they're going to try to tough it out one more year, get a high draft pick if they can. There's talk they might sign Torrey Krug. So this makes a weird, like they've already got Filppula, they've got Helm, they got Nielsen, they got Abdicator. They have these old guys. Some of them are expiring. So is this a 1 year deal or a 2 year?
1 year deal.
Yeah, it's a low risk. They're gonna totally have they've still got 20 some odd million in cap space. We saw them take on the Stahl contract. That'll expire after a year. They're going all in 1 more year. They're gonna try and get another couple, bunch of prospects. They have 3 seconds this year. Then they'll have the expansion draft. They'll lose nobody of significance, and then hopefully they get a franchise player somewhere. Like hopefully Zadinas, pops through, which I think he's very, very capable of. And they need to pick, a home run this year, but then next year too, right? Like that's what they're looking for. They don't believe this group as it is going to win them anything.
Finalists with Gagner. Gagner, his last best year was 2016-17 when he played for Columbus for 1 year. The most goal per year happened 2 times at the second year when he was with Edmonton and also Columbus 3 years ago with 18 goals. He have only 1 time he reached 50 points and another time at the beginning with Edmonton 49 points. You said at the beginning of your impression about Sam Gagner, you said something good. He's a guy can score 1,000, only about 10, 12 goals per year, and that's pretty much what Gagner is a 13, 14 point. Now I'm going to give you a prediction for Detroit Red Wings this morning. Alex Galchenyuk is going to sign with Detroit. Nobody to talk about this. This is not coming from TSN or it's coming from Coach Frenchy this morning.
Yeah, I hope not.
So I believe a player like Galchenyuk, something like that for 1 year, 2 years contract can helping Detroit to give a chance to have one guy
They
have
don't need
already
him.
scored 30
Like,
goal, 25 goal.
he's not gonna do that there. You think? I think that would be very surprising if they sign that guy. Like, if you look at what they have, even without the young guys, I think they're going to try to bury Rasmussen. They're going to try to bury Veleno. They'll let Zadina play up. They hope that Jonathan Berggren can pop through eventually, but I don't believe that's really the case. I think they'll tough it out with guys like Filppula and how Nielsen, now Gagner. It'll be interesting to see if they re-sign Timashov, because I thought he played very well. He showed he's got some skill. they're just gonna go with what they've got, and then who knows?
Right? So,
They don't
Coach,
have a goalie still, right? I
yeah,
don't see I don't see where Galchenyuk would fit because unless they're thinking like you're thinking a second line centerman, but he's shown he can't play center.
yeah. So what's still happening there? Just I predict they need more players. They need to fill up their cap, everything like that. I think they will give a chance to one or two players where he was very high on the draft
He
pick,
might.
perform anywhere.
He
And
might.
as a guy
I hope
made it
not.
before, Galchenyuk already scored before, and I think he could be a one like that. That's Detroit can be a team like this right now. Low team, no, they're on the rebuilds.
Well, I hope they don't do that because what they have to do is they have to put Svechnikov in and let him play. Like he's been sidelined with injuries. He's a better player at this point in my mind. Just hasn't had the opportunity to show it than a Galchenyuk. So it's like put your own guys in and see what you've got. That's what they should do. Now that I mean, should and would and could. I don't know if they're that high on him anymore, but he's a big body. He trains very hard and he can score. Why? I don't know what. I hope they don't do that because then they're just sucking up ice time and they could be testing these guys out in a no risk year.
Yeah. And next news, we have Chris Stewart retire. I know
Oh,
this on his Twitter account like yesterday. Chris Stewart, it was a first round pick by Colorado Avalanche, the
yep.
2006 for Avalanche. You have you have two
Couple 20
seasons.
goal years, like
It, I don't want to said something wrong here, but I really believe it's a kind of player have a good top 2 season back to back 28 goals, 64 point, 53
yeah.
point. He was young. The
But he was traded for
money,
Shattenkirk.
the
Was he traded?
money and the maybe lifestyle was not exactly the right thing for him. Um, and that's the one reason after that he go a little bit lower and lower and lower. He never performed at the level he was drafted at the level he was supposed to play.
Well, his brother was similar. They're both big, talented players. I think it was a challenge, the grind of the NHL and the level of training he had to reach. You can see Anthony, by the way, on NHL broadcast now, and you see he's heavy, right? He's really heavy. You're like, is that Anthony Stewart? And then Chris is going to be a big guy post, right? So I think it's tough. Like they're big, heavy body guys. He was tough. He could score. I don't know if to your point, he ever adapted to the level of consistency training wise. So that probably held him back. It was funny because he had 28 goals a couple times, and then they traded him
Yeah,
because
28 goals,
they didn't
28
have faith
goals.
in him, right? Did he go to St. Louis? Was he part of the Shattenkirk or something?
I'm not remember exactly. I only know it's like 10 years ago, he 2009 and 10, 10, 11, he go back 20, 20, 28 goals back to back. And then,
Yeah,
finally his stats career, he played 668 game. He has
yeah. He was a talented player, man.
160 goal, 162 assists for a total of 322. But he have also 750-minute penalty. He was a little bit like a power um, forward. He just like
Oh, absolutely.
he did not, after that he go a little bit low, low, down, down, and that's the career's Chris. So we
So
wish him the
if
best
you
luck.
if you look at the trade, so I don't know if you know what the deal. His first trade, so they moved him early. He's listed as 242, right? 6'2", 242 pounds. He was traded with Shattenkirk and a second round pick by from Colorado to St. Louis for Eric Johnson. And Jay McClement was in that, and Duncan Siemens was a first pick that hasn't really panned out. But Eric Johnson was the big part of that.
I think at the end they win. Cause I'll do
Oh my
that.
God, yeah, definitely Colorado won that trade.
Yep. The next one, to be sure, a big, big monster, Dustin Byfuglien from the Winnipeg Jet is not retired. The only thing we know, we heard, he's not going to come back play 2020, 2021. So don't expect the Jet bring back. Honestly, I'll be very surprised if he's going back one play and one day playing in NHL. He did not skate.
Why wouldn't?
He did not skate since last season. So just give you an idea, is overweight from what the people.
Oh my God, you knew that was going to happen. He's probably over 300 pounds. Like
So
he's a big, big, big man. He
yep,
played at 270, 280. So you know he's over 300 pounds. Like he's like built like a football player. He's
yep.
35 or 36, right? And I think he's just one of those guys where you want him to be on your team because he's scary and he's got talent. But I don't think I think he's done. I think did he have head injuries?
Like he was just retired. He was stopped to play hockey because he
He
have
just
no drive
he,
to play
his heart's not
hockey.
there, man. He's not serious about it.
So
I think he's done his bid. He got his cup and he won with Chicago right early on.
yep.
He was part of that group that when Dale Talon was there, that kind of lost Dale's job because I don't know if you know the story of that, but when Dale Talon was the GM, Scotty Bowman was brought on and Stan Bowman was brought on. Scotty was brought in as an advisor in Chicago, and there was some weird incident where the contracts for a bunch of players, including I think Bufflin, I think I don't know if it was Sod and Chris, what's the little guy, the little winger. But there was like 5 contracts that didn't get in under an NHL deadline. And so he had to sign them to bigger contracts than they were supposed to get to keep them because they would have lost all those players. So there was a weird
It
fax
was
incident.
the
It was really
time when
strange.
Brian Campbell with him and
Brian Campbell, right.
Andrew Shaw and
Shaw.
Patrick Sharp over there.
Chris, what's the other guy's? Chris, he's bounced around a little bit, the little winger. Chris, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? Played in Toronto a little bit. I think he just retired. But anyways, there was like 5 of them, and the contracts didn't get signed, and that lost him his job in Chicago, and that gave I think Scotty the wedge to get Stan in.
Okay.
It was a weird incident.
So the next news, the Jet are really shopping right now and looking to trade Patrick Lane. They are really thinking to looking for a defenseman. That's
They
really,
are.
and also maybe also involved with a second center. Um,
Those are the 2 obvious holes. Like, um,
Now the destination they are talking about, Columbus, Carolina, really there. Minnesota was thinking to trade Matt Tomba to them, but because they're looking more as a center, um,
they
that
are looking more for a center.
yeah, so that's maybe not the reason. I think they will look.
Do they not believe in Roslovic? Like, I thought he played real well, but he needs a contract. I think he's capable of being a second line center, but maybe they
So
don't
they are
think.
looking maybe to trade more Tomba to a team with they have like a more like a center number one or number two on the top six for the roster.
Oh, you're saying Minnesota wants a center?
Yeah,
They just traded one.
yeah, but that's what I mean. So they
Well,
that's what they're
it,
looking for right now.
it'll be
So
interesting to see, like in the draft, right? Like, do they pick Lundell if he's there? Because Lundell is less. He's not an amazing skater, but he might be NHL ready. Like, he's pretty close, and he could be like a really good number 2 center, I think. But if they're treating Dumba there's going to be a lot of guys that would be willing to give up something for Dumba. But second line and first line centers are hard to come by, right?
so finishing with the news from Patrick Laney. Carolina looking maybe moving Dougie Hamilton,
Yeah,
and he is only 1 year away from free for UFA, and then so on the claim maybe Brett PC. Um,
Pesci. You think they're going to trade Pesci?
but the problem with him, he's still under contract for 4 more years, so maybe Carolina does not want to move him, keep him over there. The
They have a lot
biggest
of D though, right?
Yeah, the biggest discussions more about Columbus, where they could maybe trade with a couple of pieces with Ryan Murray to Winnipeg and get Josh Anderson and maybe a first pick round pick, something like that. That will increase. I think Ryan Murray is not a top two. players in any team in NHL as
Absolutely not.
defensemen. So I don't see why Winnipeg would trade for a
I
random.
don't see why either. Like you've got a guy that's legitimately a top three player and
Yep.
a 40 goal scorer. Like you need to get a lot for him. I could see Josh Anderson, but if there's risk in Anderson, right? Like the last year with the injury thing and his one goal versus 27 or 28 the year before.
Yep.
Overall, I got to think Anderson has had increased offensive production each year, but they never believe in the guy. Like they only signed the guy to a $2 million contract. So I don't know. There's something weird there. I like Josh Anderson as a pickup, but it's a weird story. And I'm curious what, because Jarmo Kekalainen, the GM in Columbus, if you recall, he famously picked Dubois and passed on Puyarvi. So I wonder what his opinion is of Aho, because he knows those Finnish guys really well.
Yep.
So I don't know. He's a pretty astute judge, but
That's pretty much what happening around the
or not
weekend.
Ryan, sorry.
That's all right. That's pretty much what happening during the weekend for the NHL around new signature and also a couple of discussion everything like that. But we're going to move on for our pick number 6 to pick number 10 for the NHL Draft 2020, and that will be the last part of our segment this morning, Monday morning, September 28th. Thank you so much, all the Hockey Nation fans, to listen us or watching us on Facebook Live or on YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our page by clicking and to be a part of our daily edition early and sometime late during the night, where we're going to be back tonight after game number 6 between Dallas and Tampa. Looking for, let's go resume the top 1 to 5 and then finish, go from 6 to 10. We remember we talked about this last edition. I think it was Saturday, it was maybe Saturday or Friday. Um, we were agreed together to Rangers first pick round pick overall, Alexis Lafreniere.
That's obvious.
You know, we're not the only one. I agree with that. I think 99.999
Yeah,
all
that's obvious.
over there. The biggest question after that is really Los Angeles King, if they are going with Quentin uh, Byfield or the the player from
German.
Germany, Tim Stützle. Honestly, um, we are agreed to go with Tim Stützle for that one over there. Um,
Yeah.
he's still categorized as a center, not as a winger. Just to mention
He
this
can
to
play both though. He's shown as both, right? So he
yeah,
can I think they know he can play left wing, he can play center. And long term, it doesn't matter. Like he can a very capable NHL center.
yeah. Number
The only
three,
the only question Byfield is actually maybe Byfield's an interesting winger, but he's never played wing, so
yeah. Number three, Ottawa got the pick number 3 on the trade from with San Jose a couple of years ago. Um, and I think at that moment we all agreed to say Quinton now is going to go direction to Ottawa for that day for that pick. We really agree with that one. They're 6'3" and a half, 215 pounds. Um, and then your team, Detroit Red Wings. Um, I mentioned they are going with Lucas Raymond, but you said he's maybe go with the goalie from Russia. Um,
I don't know if they will, but so there's two different things. There's what they will do and what I would do. I would really go off the board and take the goalie because they've never had a goalie prospect like that.
yeah,
And to me, that guy's got franchise written all over him.
yep, Yaroslav Askarov. If you want to know the name of that one over there, I said
Yeah.
that's why it's going to be a pick where they could maybe go. That Steve Eiserman is already been a guy looking for, different ways, not like the routine or the normally what they should pick. But I think, honestly, I think if I have a pick number 4, we'll go Lucas Raymond. Now, pick number 5, we said Ottawa. You decide to go with Marco Rossi, and me, I said they're going to go with Cole Perfetti. left winger for Sagina
Yep.
in the OHL, little bit diminished players. But the one thing we are agreeing, me and you, both players, they are 5'9", and they are about 180 pounds. So they
Not
are
big.
the same kind. The strength
Cole,
is the
Cole's bigger
position.
than that. Cole's almost 5'11", but I think Cole's closer to 5'11". But I think Rossi's a lot stockier. Cole's not a thick guy, but Cole's very very smart, not a bad pick at 5 by any means. Rossi's very similar. Rossi plays in the hard areas, and he's a great passer. But I think you could flip a coin. I think either of those are a good pick.
Yeah. So we
I think
have,
the reason that I would go with Rossi is because he played in Ottawa.
yeah. So pick number 6, Anaheim Ducks.
Um, Looking to me at the, I think it'd be very hard for them if Drysdale's available not to take him. They have a tradition of grabbing pretty good D. So I don't know if they might take a Lucas Raymond here, or they might take another talented forward. But they have some guys coming up. So they've got Trevor Zegras, who I think they're thinking is a smaller, skilled, smart forward. So I'd be surprised if they take the same again. And they typically like big guys. So they got Comtois coming, they got Jones, they've got Sam Steele, they've got Zegras. I kind of think they go back to D, and I think they take Drysdale here.
It's not a bad trade. It's not a bad pick. I'll be honest with you. I think Jimmy, maybe the best defenseman in that draft for me. Um, honestly, I think he bring a lot on the team. I think he can helping a lot at Anaheim. But I will not surprise you. But I'm going to go with Olds, Alexander Olds, from
Oh, really?
yeah. Uh, on the
Mhm.
SHL right wing. I think it would be one of the on the on the top that maybe not many consider him high, but on that moment I think Alexander Olds. Now the real pick it could be the defenseman Jimmy Dressel you mentioned, but I think Olds going to be higher level on that one over there. So my pick for Anaheim Ducks to 2020. Mr. Alexander Olds from Kew Gardens and IFSHL. Number 7, we have to go now with the first pick as a manager for that team, Tom General Fitzgerald, New Jersey Devils.
Um, so normally I would have Holtz here, but I think they're going to be surprised if Detroit does go off the board and take Askarov and Raymond's available. It's really tough to pass on Raymond. I think they do want to get bigger, and Holtz is a bigger player and he can really score. Not as good of a skater and not a dynamic a player as Raymond. But I think it's going to be really tough to pass on Raymond if he's here. So I think they take Raymond.
Raymond for you, and honestly, is a good pick. I think New Jersey still to stack their defensemen, and they're going to get Tristal.
Yep. I could so if Drysdale's there, then they take him.
Yep. Let's go move on with the Buffalo Sabres. Um, Buffalo Sabres, yep, Buffalo Sabres, where they are um, pick number 8 on the draft 2020.
I think because Holtz is here, they take Holtz. They need a winger that can score, and they've got lots down the middle with Stahl and Eichel now. They've got Olofsson, Skinner, and Reinhardt, and that would round it out if they added Holtz to this mix. So I think that's the way they go.
They are going with Dawson Mercer.
Wow, that high?
Yep,
Really?
yep. Dawson is a right wing, play for Drummondville, was 6 foot 177. Dawson, he has a great career QM. I think Buffalo always been a team looking always for French Canadian. They always like close to
They
that,
are.
you know what I mean?
Who
Um,
they pick French Canadian?
Gilbert Perrault,
Oh my God, nice 1970. These kids.
Richard Martin, René Robert.
You're
Uh,
living in the donut era.
You
The
know,
Tim
I
Hortons.
know Pat LaFontaine play in he born in USA, but Pat LaFontaine was a producer of QM. Um,
Well, I went to the New York Islanders, but yeah.
so you
So
know, you can talk
Buffalo,
about Pierre
you
Jean if you want to go a little bit higher, everything like that. But I think at that
yeah.
moment,
So
now I'll be honest
you
with
passed
you.
on some pretty good players there, but
Yeah, honestly, I could go with Marco Rossi there.
because he's still available on your board. I don't think they go for him, but maybe.
So, but I think Dawson Mercer may be one of my surprise right now, my top 10, honestly, and he's going with Buffalo. Now, number 9, Minnesota Wild.
Um, so on my board, Perfetti's still available. So I think it'd be tough for them to pass on Perfetti, but to me, it's between for them Lundell and Perfetti. I think Perfetti's top side is way higher. They're both not amazing skaters though, so I think they'll probably take Perfetti if he's available there.
Yeah, I agree with you. At that moment, Perfetti should be out anyway, but I
Yeah,
think,
he should be gone before this. Like again, I put a bomb in the middle of it with the Askarov off the board, so that puts some pretty good players in this spot. So I think they'll be shocked and they'll take him.
yep, I think you are talking about that one over there. Number 9, I'm going to go with because he was still is under my board all open up right there. I'm going to go with Marco Rossi.
Yeah, I could see that. They need help, and he's a centerman. He's tough. He's skilled. I think his numbers are inflated because he was an overager in the OHL, but he's still a good player. I mean, if the comparisons to Brad Marchand are what people are making, and he ends up a fraction of that, you got a good player.
Yep, I agree with you. Number 10, Winnipeg
So this is
Jets.
Winnipeg. So I think there's two players here left on my board that would be really attractive to them. One is Jake Sanderson. I think the more I watch him, I really like his game. I'm concerned of where he played, but that just might be a time thing because his skating is exceptional. He's willing to play hard. I don't think he has the offensive upside of a Drysdale, but he's not that far off. He could be a 15-year pro with like 25 to 35 points a year type of guy. He might get 8, 10 goals on his best years. So I think he's a capable top 4 defenseman in the NHL someday. I don't know how long that'll take, but he looks really good. So I think I got to think that if Winnipeg is willing to be patient, they would take Jake Sanderson. If not, they would take Lundell. Lundell's skating is never going to be amazing, but he's really smart. He's big. He's already playing pro. So for Winnipeg here, I think they take Lundell.
Okay. I think he's a good. Is I think Lundell overall, I think he's between 13 to 15, but he's a one player was maybe go a little bit quick, faster. What people think. I think he's a really good player. Uh,
Yeah.
playing as a ski. Now, my pick, honestly, you mentioned him right away. He was is because Winnipeg need more a D, and I think Jake Sanderson if he's
Yeah.
available at that moment. Now,
I think it
because
gets flipped between those two for sure.
yeah. Now we finished 10. I want to go back from 1 to 10 and looking which team need a goalie. So we have,
Everybody.
but
Well, Detroit, you could say Ottawa.
Rangers. Let's move on with Rangers. They don't need goalie, right?
No.
Los Angeles King, they don't need really goalie. Right now they are quick, and I think
I
they'll,
think Peterson's very good. Peterson's like, I think one day Peterson will be.
yeah, yeah. So we now go to Ottawa.
Yeah. So they're fine.
So Ottawa, honestly, because you
They
have
could use a goalie.
I think they have 3 and 4. I don't see any still there with. I want to talk to you about 1 and 10. Who Yaroslav Askarov can go from 12, 13, 14, 15 right now to John top 10 right now. That's my question to you. So Detroit is a one possibility. Number 5 is Ottawa. I don't think so. Number 6, Anaheim. They have already Gibson over there. 7, New Jersey Devils.
Sorry, I got cut off there.
Okay.
Um, so we said Ottawa could use a goalie. I think it's if they might if let's say Askarov's available at 5, they could go off the board and take him, and it wouldn't be the worst thing. I think that wouldn't be surprising. Detroit obviously needs a goalie, and I'm kind of hoping they grab someone, but it's not the end of the world. They don't. Ducks don't, right?
Yeah,
Devils don't.
I think Ducks we have Gibson, it's not a big deal. Now, number 7 is New Jersey Devils.
They don't need a goalie. Mackenzie Blackwood is legit. He showed it last year.
Buffalo Sabres.
I think they don't. They're not urgently in need of a goalie. Olmark is seasoned and I think is a really good, young goalie. Was he like 24, 25? They could use another guy, but I think they'll go veteran. And I don't think they're that worried long term. I think Olmark's going to be good. So
Number
it's debatable. They
number
might.
10, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah. I can't. I don't know what prospects they have, but I tend to think that Askarov's legitly a consideration. But they're looking, I think, shorter term. You could say they need a goalie.
Minnesota, yeah.
Because Dubnik didn't play well and they had problems last year. So does it Staylock the other goalie?
Honestly, the organization is more like Minnesota have no goalie on the top 7, 8
Yeah,
prospect player they have. So honestly, they don't have
they
anything.
need a goalie.
I try to look for them a goalie. The best goalie they have right now is a Kakunen. He play in he's 23 years old, playing in a EHL. He's
That's not
not,
happening.
23. So I think Minnesota could be the one. Honestly, could have that one down. The next
Absolutely.
one, and finally number 10 is the Winnipeg Jets. With they are already set up for a couple of years.
They have no need. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have honestly Detroit, and Buffalo and Minnesota. I think
And Ottawa.
one manager, yeah, but I don't think so. That was shifting 3 and 5 for him. I don't. I believe Eiserman could be a surprise, but I don't think so at 4 if you done that. But I would
Risky.
be not be surprised if Buffalo or Minnesota
I
take
agree.
Ravislav Askarov, honestly, at that moment over there. So, um,
Yep.
you know, that be the only thing I would say to you this morning about those pick 6 and 10. We are already done with that part over there, and we'll see what is next for next tomorrow. We'll go back to number 11, 15. It's Nashville, Florida, Carolina, Edmonton, and of course Toronto now get the 15th pick because they trade Kapanen to the Pittsburgh Pens a couple of weeks ago. Everything like that. So I think that will be a great pick, a great draft. Again, we remember October 6th. Now the big thing before we finish, they have a lot of discussion about next season and how many games they're going to play. Everything like that. They have a lot of different things option. Um, and then when going to start the TV situation, the contract, and how they're going to play. The last, the last thing we talk maybe about fourth division, but and then let's fight all the division works more with location versus the conference we have right now with all four division. That's another subject right now. They talk a lot about this, and they mention now. I believe Michael, the situation between the borders, Canada, USA is going to change when the season is going to start.
Probably.
So I think they will have a little bit more uh, possibility, a bit later during the year. So in January, February, March 2021, possibility for the team play and USA, Canada come to USA. I possible they have different division um, about location like 7 team division in Canada, and then 3 other division of 8 teams and USA. So they have another possibility. Look about those different things like that, and I think the season could be between 48 to 82 games. Maybe not 82 if the weather I just mentioned to you, but maybe more 70 to 72 games, 74 games. It depends the situation about that. I believe the season 2021 is going to be from January or end late in December until July 2021, and then they will give enough time to everybody come back in October, because honestly the NHL, if it was 2021 right now, the season starts next week. You know what I mean? We are October right now, next week, so the season starts usually first week in October. So there's a lot of discussion right now in NHL about the season 2020 and whatsoever is. We are possible to see tonight the last game of the season 2019-2020, and maybe to appear on the ice the Stanley Cup. I have a question for you before we leave. If you can answer me my question about who is going to be. Oh, you disappear. We lost Michael Devellano, friends. I did not see that. I was watching on my website information, and honestly, we just lost Michael Devellano from Austin. He is today, and I was talking by myself and talking to him a couple of questions. My question would be, who is going to be on the ice to represent the NHL to give the Stanley Cup? Are we going to see Gary Bettman back on the ice and give the Stanley Cup to the captain of the Tampa if Tampa win tonight, as Steven Stanko? So their prediction, I will finish with that part. That's great program this morning of the Hockey Nation live show. And I invite you again to subscribe to our Facebook page under the same name, or on the YouTube channel. You can subscribe and see all the news we bring on the table every day, daily. Each, and we're going to add a new program live also. One, we're going to go move on to the season 2020-2021 on the Instagram. I invite you to be live with us for the full night of the NHL 2020 and 2021 draft, October 6th, honestly, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But our prediction for tonight, we both predict a victory of Tampa, win the game number 6, and then win the Stanley Cup. So that's why my prediction tonight. We was wrong last game. Honestly, I was wrong. I thought Tampa was win game number 5, but Dallas was the team is all resilient, always come back. By the way, Dallas are 1 game shy of the NHL record about the most game come back during the playoff. The number is 10, was established by Pittsburgh Penguins. I just not remember exactly the year. I believe it's 2010, but it's not going to be 2010 because I think they got eliminated by Montreal Canadiens that year. But I know for a fact, Pittsburgh Pens have the most comeback winning game in history in NHL for the playoff. Now Dallas this year have 9. They are 1 shy to do this again. How are they going to do that again? How are they going to come back tonight and push this final Stanley Cup and to 7? It's funny because many people love the game. They just want to get an extra game. They don't want to be bored for the next 2 months and a half. But we're not going to be bored. We're going to entertaining you guys. We're going to come back here every day to talk about the best, bring all the news around the league and give you more information about what's going on. We're going to talk a little bit more about junior. By the fact, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey Junior League start this week. At the end of the weeks, they become the first major junior in Canada start to play hockey next week. So we're going to see what's going happening over there. So thank you so much, everybody. to be joined me and Michael. Well, unfortunately, Michael disappeared. He have some problem to be with us this morning. We can see during the show he was in and out. But I know Michael will be back tonight after the game. We're going to have a late edition show tonight after the game number 6. We're going to be back live. And thanks everybody to listen and watch Hockey Nation live show with us every single day. So have a great, amazing Monday, September 28th. We look forward to see you tonight after game number 6. Have an amazing day. Thank you.